With the Chicago Bears changing officially offensive coordinators now and Thomas Brown taking over play calling duties, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I want to see Thomas Brown change and try to establish during his maybe short time here as the offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bulls. We're also going to look at an article from Ryan Heckman on the 3 candidates to replace Matt Eberflus at the end of the season. All that plus a little mailbag right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. I want to start off in what does Thomas Brown need to change, if he can, in his time here as the offensive coordinator? What are some of the changes that we want to see from this offense right away? And the first one I'm going to put on here is one that everybody's been talking about for a long time, is better utilization of Cole Kmet. It just is what it is. When you look at Cole Kmet, since the bye week, he has 3 catches for 27 yards. Over 3 games, that should at minimum be what Cole Kmet gets every single game. And despite Cole Kmet looking pretty good at the during a part of the season, right now Cole Kmet has just not been utilized very well. And our tight ends overall, right? That was one of the things Shane Waldron was supposed to bring here to the Chicago Bears, is better utilization of the tight end. Now, the Bears brought in Gerald Everett, and initially there was kind of more trust there to Gerald Everett than Cole Kmet, but then we start seeing that change. And while Cole Kmet is still playing the majority of the snaps, we just aren't really going to him in the passing game. That needs to change. And, at the end of the day, I understand why a lot of Bears fans are questioning and asking exactly how much is Thomas Brown going to change. We actually got a voicemail on it here towards the end of the show, but making those little changes can go a long way in kind of getting a better result from your offense, right? So better utilization of Cole Kmet, and much to with that as well is we got to utilize DJ Moore better in how we are. Like, yes, DJ Moore's body language has been off. Yes, DJ Moore's mood has seemed like it's been off, and it could be due to just the unbelief of how bad the offensive play calling was. And I think we have to, right? We have to utilize him, and I'd say a little bit more vertically. Like, if we can get that a little bit more in the case of that, maybe it can help Caleb Williams and DJ Moore get on the same page, and that is a really big, important part of that, right? And so, while Caleb Williams has been best right now as far as in those intermediate routes and things like that, going over the middle, we could use DJ Moore in that area a little bit more. So I think if Thomas Brown has a better kind of vision on how to use DJ Moore and how to get that rhythm between him and Caleb Williams together, it can go a long way. Now, hopefully DJ Moore's attitude starts improving. C-Dub in yesterday's live stream that we had, later on in the day, he brought a lot of light to, how DJ Moore's body language is and how that could be impacting the team and the mood around the team. And, I want to give a lot of credence to that for sure. But I think overall, it's really hard to get up as players when you don't believe in what you're doing day in and day out. And I think we're seeing that, right? We saw that by how players talked about it, that there was just a lot of kind of discontent with Shane Waldron and his play calling and his utilization and all these things. So I think we can get DJ Moore and Cole Kmet more involved in the game, right? And get Caleb Williams and DJ Moore's chemistry more on the same page. That could definitely help this offense start looking better. And, and this isn't things to say that we can turn around the offense. You guys know I'm not somebody who's going to try to paint a different picture for you or rosy picture. I'm a more optimistic person sometimes in general, but I don't think that here's the thing. I don't look at this and say that there's enough here that all of a sudden we're going to be this vastly different team offensively, right? I think that we can do some of the things that we were trying to do better, and we can utilize players better. I think that's kind of should be the focus here over the last remaining 7 games that we have left on the season, is just utilize everything better. That's what we need to do. Utilize our players better, utilize our personnel better, put players in better position, be more intentional about how we do things over these last 8 games. And if we can do that, listen, we'll see what happens there. But I think DJ Moore, Cole Kmet are a big part of who needs to benefit from this move, and bringing Thomas Brown in and moving to a different play caller. Next up, I think, we got to establish the run more intentionally, right? And while DeAndre Swift has had a really good set of games as far as yards from scrimmage, right? He's done that. Overall, our run game still leaves a lot to be desired as a part of an offense. And, some of that needs to be using Roschon Johnson a little bit more critically, right? As far as how we put him in the positions where he can be successful and where he has been successful at so far as well in the season. I think if we can establish the run game more consistently, right? That's one thing that the Bears have been really good at over the last few years. Now, the pass blocking, the run blocking and things like that. Thomas Brown, I don't think he's going to be able to change a lot of that, but in the run pass balance, I think we need to establish a run game more consistently. And I think that can help. Right now we're seeing our run game and the success that we do have, the little bit of success we do have coming off on the ground. It really comes by like a bunch of tackles being broken and dazzling and things like that. Like Swift has 564 yards on the ground. He's averaging 4 yards per carry. You look at Roschon as well. He has 104 yards. He's averaging right under 3 yards per carry as well. But Roschon has 4 touchdowns on the season. DeAndre Swift has 4 touchdowns on the season. So there's some things there where we can try to find a better wrinkle at it. And I think that's what we need to do is be more intentional about how we move the ground on the ball. How we move the ball on the ground, but flip-flop that. And so, if that can be something we can be more intentional about, I think that definitely can help the Chicago Bears overall when it comes down to it as well. Like we are right now, when you look at it, we're averaging 108 yards on the ground. That's just not good. We have 9 total rushing touchdowns. Like we need to be better at that, and that may be able to help us establish things down the field if teams have to play us honestly in that running game. So I would like to see Thomas Brown utilize the talent that we do have there a little bit more and see what we can bring there. And then overall is this as well. The last thing, rebuilding the confidence of Caleb Williams. And not to say that Caleb isn't confident in himself as a person, right? But he's not, you can tell, he doesn't have that same kind of confidence in things that he had early on. Now, that does not ignore Caleb Williams. He needs to be better as a passer himself. He needs to be better as a decision maker. He needs to be more accurate. We need those things. But I think if you play more to Caleb Williams' strengths, right? As long as he's going to be your starting quarterback, you need to play to the strengths of your starting quarterback and kind of establish that as things go on. I think when you look at building off the things that he does have chemistry with, are we going to see more Tyler Scott now? Or are we going to see Rome Odunze, who's leading the team in receiving yards with 414, right? Like we have to establish some things and better. And I think the confidence being rebuilt in Caleb Williams is going to be a big part of it. We talked about it, in the press conference after the game on Sunday. Like that looked like a man that was defeated. Now, it needs to look like a man who needs to be a little bit down on himself and his own performance for sure, right? That part is there also. You're not going to get abstained from that part of it. But Caleb, I think if you can reestablish the confidence that Caleb Williams came into this league with, play to his strengths, use the last 8 games of this season to really start trying to build that up. And then look, you can make a determination that gives the Bears more data, right? And I know the fans, it's a community that's getting louder as far as, hey, give Bajan the opportunity, maybe for the betterment of Caleb going forward, or maybe Bajan's just better right now. But if you play to the strengths of Caleb Williams over the remaining part of this season, because I think at this point, nobody's expecting the Bears to just clear the table or be this amazing team to finish the season. But if you can play to his strengths, it gives you a lot more data on how can you build off those strengths in the coming years. I get and understand why people have the viewpoint that they have on Caleb, because he's been disappointing. He's been outwardly bad in a lot of cases, right? And so if you can start rebuilding that confidence and rebuilding and playing to his strengths, it gives you just more evaluation on what you can do there. The Bears season isn't going to be saved by the change of Thomas Brown. Tyson Bagent isn't going to save the Bears season either, but you are invested in Caleb Williams for the future, at least as of right now, and you should be. You just drafted him number 1 overall. You're going to give that some time and opportunity to grow and develop, but you need to be better in how you utilize them. And overall, like this isn't even a comprehensive list as far as everything that Thomas Brown could do better. These are just some of the things that I would like to see start changing right away for the Chicago Bears. And listen, we got a test coming up. Like this game could be an absolute massacre on Sunday. I want to be clear. It could be an absolute massacre and a shit show. But, we'll see how that develops for this team and what this team turns into. And we just got to give it time, right? But with that said, there's an interesting article as well, moving on from that, in regards to, this one's from Ryan Heckman, who wrote 3 candidates to replace Matt Eberflus. And I like the way he went with a lot of these guys. Clearly, it's all offensive coordinators, really offensive minded. I think there's a lot of people share that mindset is that, no more defensive coordinators turn into head coaches that then don't really know how to hire offensive coordinators, right? And so, of course, Ben Johnson was at the top of Ryan's list here. And it makes sense. He's the name right now that's hot. He's the name right now that everybody's talking about with the rumor of him wanting to come to the Chicago Bears. But outside of that rumor, when you look at what he's done with the Detroit Lions, what Ben Johnson has done with Jared Goff, what he's turned that Detroit Lions offense into. One thing that Lions offense does very well is it does utilize its talents and its weapons to the best of their ability. Now, they also have a better offensive line. So that in no way changes Ryan Poles' his mandate that should be a mandate to go out and fix this offensive line this offseason. That needs to be case point 1, 2, and 3 for Ryan Poles. Go and fix the offensive line if you do that, right? And I know that's a big if. If Ryan Poles does what's needed and what's necessary to go out there and fix this offensive line this offseason, Ben Johnson is going to be able to do wonders theoretically with this team. So, we'll see what it comes down to it. I think Ben Johnson is a great candidate. I do think a lot of teams are going to be pursuing Ben Johnson. And so the Chicago Bears are going to have to pull up the brink stroke and convince Ben Johnson. It's not going to be just hey, Ben, you want to come coach for us? The Bears are going to have to convince Ben Johnson that they're going to put the team out there that he can work with enough to get this team where they need to be, at least in my opinion. And I think that's holding the feet of the front office to the fire if you hire Ben Johnson. The next one that he has on this list is Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this may be a little bit more of a long stretch, and Ryan does point that out here in his article, is that they just got him. He's in year 1, and what he's done with Baker Mayfield has been pretty damn good, right? And so I think when you look at Cohen as well, he's also from the Sean McVay coaching tree. He has that discipline. That's clearly where the style that the Bears want to adapt into, more modernize their offense. And I think when you look at it as well, Cohen adapts to the personnel that he has on there. And that's a big part in what I think the Bears should be looking at and looking for in any type of next head coach. Are they going to be able to adapt to the personnel? Are they going to be able to get the most out of what we have here? And I think that that's a thing. The motion, the way that he uses the backfield as well, those are really good things. And I think that he could be, Cohen could definitely be the kind of breath of fresh air that we need from the Chicago Bears fan base and organization in actually putting out a modern offense that can get the damn job done. Now, the last one he has on this list is Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator with the Baltimore Ravens. And, of course, he quoted what he's done with Lamar Jackson, and what that Ravens offense has looked like since he's taken up that time. But also, you also got to look at Monken and what he did with Georgia. He turned that Georgia team into one of the more fun-to-watch and talented offenses in the country in collegiate football before he came into the NFL. And I think that he'd be a really good option here as well, kind of a dark horse candidate, somebody I haven't really seen mentioned a lot. So shout out to Ryan in this article, looking outside the box, that, no Cliff Kingsbury and things in this list, but Todd Monken is a really good one as well. I think if you're really looking for a guy that can come in, be creative offensively, and finally get the Chicago Bears team into a place offensively where they're in the modern ages. So listen, really good candidates to recap. You got, of course, Ben Johnson. You got Liam Cohen there with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Todd Monken with the Baltimore Ravens, who also did wonders for that Georgia offense in college. So let me know what you guys think on those candidates down below. But let's get in a little bit into the mailbag. This first voicemail that we got, this one's from John Johnson.
Bobby, Steve-O, Cognac Boys, how y'all doing? This is your boy John Johnson, South Carolina. I believe in voicemails before, and I guess the other voicemails y'all played ahead of mine. That don't even matter. I'm calling from Matt Eberflus' head for the long. We ain't got rid of Eberflus. I don't know what he got on the organization, but he's still there. But this is the thing that gets to me and really pisses me off. All right, so we go in and fire Shane Waldron, but we didn't fire Matt. So in order to cover his butt, he fired Shane, and he promotes Thomas Brown to offensive coordinator. What difference is that going to get? Come on, guys, let's be real. Thomas Brown, what has he done? He was with who? Carolina Panthers. We didn't upgrade at all. How did we upgrade? How is everybody so thankful that we did an in-house hire Thomas Brown? So what? We're going to get the same results. The playbook ain't going to change that much. The formation may change just a little bit, but playbook ain't going to change. What did Thomas Brown prove to y'all in the time with Carolina? that he's going to do with us with the Bears right now? Nothing. The season is a wash. I'm a Bears fan to the heart. But the season is a wash. So wash our hands with it. Let's start fresh next year. Hopefully you guys can get this season out their head and do the right thing next year. So this season is done. It's done, guys. As much as I love y'all show, I love to hear y'all talk. But it's at the point right now where the Bears been pissing me off so much that I don't want to hear nothing about it. Matter of fact, I got Bear logos on my truck. I got a GMCU car. I got a bear tag in the front. I got a bear tag in the back. I got a bear tag in my window. And I got 2 bear license plates sticking on the side through my glass. Everybody. But it's at the point where I'm so ashamed to have my stuff up. I'm ashamed to be a Bears fan right now. And that's no way I should. If Walter Payton was alive right now, oh, Lord, he's fucking cursed. I am so disappointed. If we don't make no changes, man, I tell you, we just trash. Right now, we're playing like trash. I got enough, man. Hey, bear down, all the way down.
I think, listen, if you're expecting, this move was never going to be something to turn around the Chicago Bears offense in this season, right? Yes, the playbook is going to primarily stay the same, but sometimes you need a different eye on things. Now, I'm not here to say at all or sell you that it's going to completely turn this thing around because I don't think it is. But this move, it wasn't about some drastic change. It's just about getting a level of competency, right? It's not that the offensive philosophies of the Bears are bad. It's not that the Bears system necessarily is bad. It was how that it's run. And it's also the players and how they execute it. We can't overlook that aspect. We got to have better execution from it absolutely as well. So I don't want to overlook that aspect of it either. But to say that and a lot of people have talked about what Thomas Brown did or did not do in Carolina. Carolina was a packet of hot ass. That's what the Carolina Panthers were, evident by where they still are, right? So I'm not necessarily going to hold him against that, right? And he's not coming in here to all of a sudden be the savior. The Bears didn't sign him to some 4 or 5 year deal for him to be the offensive coordinator of the future for the Bears. So if you were hoping that the firing of Shane Waldron was all of a sudden going to bring something that's going to drastically change the way that you look at this team, that was never going to be the case. That was never going to be what this was. But it is about bringing in competency. It is about execution, right? And hopefully this new voice can help with that. I don't think it changes the future of Matt Eberflus either. Better goddamn well not, because it's time for Eberflus to go. But I think I get what you're getting at, and I get the disappointment, right? I understand the disappointment from all Chicago Bears fans. We got a lot of shit to be disappointed about. But I think overall, like, it wasn't about what a lot of Bears fans hoped it to be about, right? You're not going to, in the middle of the season, it's going to be a whole bunch of drastic changes. But by changing the offensive play caller, you can see how much of the system needs to be changed, right? And I think either way, if we're bringing in an offensive head coach, offensive-minded head coach, a lot of things are going to change regardless as far as that system anyway. So just look out for that. All right, let's get into this next voicemail, the last one in this episode. This one is from Darius.
What's going on, y'all? Darius from Dallas, man. I don't know, dude. It kind of seems like deja vu, man. I know y'all probably have noticed this. I think Haize mentioned it a couple times that, we've been like this for the past 10 years, man. So it's kind of like when you having the same result over and over and over again, no matter who the GM is, no matter who the coaching staff is, are y'all willing to think that, maybe the McCaskies have a lot bigger hand in picking a coach than we think? I mean, we knew they had some influence, but don't y'all think they got like a much bigger influence than what we think? Because we keep getting the exact same type of coach in here, the exact same everything from the offensive line. It's like it's repeating itself over and over and over again. Okay, and we keep getting these coaches that are first time head coaches. They come in there, they preach a bunch of rah-rah bullshit. We go out there and we lay an egg on the field. They come in the press conference and spit out a bunch of gobbledygook and expect us just to take that shit and be motivated by it as fans. Like, no, fuck you, So I don't know, man. I think, and I hate to say it, but we might be in the same boat as Cowboys fans, where we just have an owner that has a lot of influence on the decisions that are made for this team. And until something changes up at the top with ownership, this just might be the result we get, fellas. This just might be what we just have to deal with as long as there's a McCaskey up there, because we keep getting the same type of situation over and over and over again. For how many years are we going to be one of the worst offenses in the league? For how many years are we going to keep bringing in these defensive coordinators that hire bad offensive coordinators? It's the same result. And when you get to the point where it's the same result, I ain't even going to get mad no more, because that's the result. I know how the Bears season is going to end every year. because we pick the same type of coaches. Okay? And where everybody's talking about Ben Johnson. Probably won't get him. Maybe we will. I don't know. But it's just going to be the same result, guys. He's going to come in here. We're going to be excited about it. He's going to, have maybe 2 or 3 good highlight games. And after that, we're fucking 4-12 or whatever the hell, until something changes at the top. This is really giving me Dallas Cowboy vibes. And, I think it's a little deeper. I think McCaskey's got a little bit more influence on these coaching decisions because we keep getting the same candidate and keep getting the same result, man. Let me know what y'all think. Text us up, bear down.
We talk a lot about ownership in yesterday's live stream, and I get what you're saying. I do think that historically ownership has had a big part in the coaches that we fired. Now, Kevin Warren taking over as the CEO, right? I think that is some change, and change takes time. And Eberflus was interviewed initially before Ryan Poles was even hired. So, I do think that ownership does play a part, but I think that, blaming and complaining about ownership ownership doesn't change that often. If it comes down to, and I've said this in yesterday's live stream, there are a lot of bad owners in football, but they put the right people in place. And the Bears actually making a change to where they went from the outside to hire Kevin Warren in. And I just don't see Kevin Warren taking the job to be a figurehead. I see Kevin Warren as being somebody that took the job if you're going to actually let him run this team and run this organization. And so let's see what Kevin Warren does. Let's see how Kevin Warren cooks. And now him and Ryan Poles, if and when they do move on from Matt Eberflus, this may be the first time that they get to start that process from the ground up. Now, I'm somebody who still holds the Matt Eberflus hiring against Ryan Poles because Poles has said it out his mouth. He had the chance to restart the process. He decided to not do that. And that's him. And then he went to bat for Matt Eberflus this past offseason for 3 days to decide if you're going to keep his job. So I think that let's see if this team, in the firing of Matt Eberflus this offseason, hopefully that does happen, because if it doesn't, we're going to riot. But if and when that does happen, now let's see what you go out and do, right? And I get it. Ownerships in the McCaskies, yeah, they have their thing. They're out of touch. But I think that's why they brought in Kevin Warren, personally, right? I like to believe that. And I don't think Kevin Warren has had a long enough time yet for us to say that he's completely put his fingerprint on this team. But with the state of this team and where they are now, how disappointing this season is, you better goddamn well put your fingerprint on this team. And let's see if Kevin Warren, Ryan Poles, if they do it and start going into a direction where we're questioning less if it's an ownership decision, and now we're seeing them for the decisions that they're making. But always, as always, great voicemail there, great insight, Darius. That's my time for today, guys. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.